So today on Microdose U, we're going to be talking about four agreements that you need to be making to yourself, with yourself, to make your life so much better and actually reach your goal and get to where you want to be much quicker. And you might be asking, well, what does this really have to do with microdosing? Well, it's got a lot to do. So hang in there. I'm Dr. Dave, and this is Microdose U. Welcome.
Enter the world of magic mushrooms with Microdose U.
Hey there, I'm so glad you're here with me today. It's going to be a really good episode. I talked about this quite some time ago on my podcast, but it's worth doing again only because it's so important. And also, I just want to welcome you. Make sure you know that you're always welcome here. I'm Dr. Dave, and if you have any questions or want to know more about anything I ever talk about, make sure you check the show notes for every single podcast episode I do, as well as check my brand new website, microdoseu.com. And it's simply microdose with the letter U tacked on the end of it, microdoseu.com. There's a lot to learn, and I'm here to guide you, to help you. Nothing here is medical advice, but I'm still here to share my story and help you through your microdosing journey if you choose to do that, and get you feeling really good every single day of your life from now on. You deserve it. I mean, you're here for a reason. Let's make sure everything works for you, right? So today I'm going to talk about four agreements that you need to make with yourself. And these are not mine, they're not original. You may have heard of the book called Four Agreements by author Don Miguel Ruiz. And I read this book many years ago. And I would have to say it's one of the most outstanding and prolific books I've ever read in my life. And it's really, really simple. And I would recommend that you pick up a copy on Amazon or wherever you get your books. I really recommend you do that. But if you don't want to, if you got so many things going on in your life that you just don't have time to read another book, I'm going to go ahead and outline on today's show exactly what the four agreements are. And if you make each one of these agreements with yourself, you'll find more inner peace. Your life will flow smoother every single day. And you're just going to feel a lot better because these four agreements are really, really important. And, we talk about microdosing because many of you are microdosing magic mushrooms to feel better and to get rid of some mental health issues, whether they're anxiety or depression or whatever they are. But I always talk about things that need to go alongside of the microdose. You can't just microdose itself and just hope everything's going to fall into place and be better. It's just not. I wish it were that easy, but it's really not that easy. So we always talk about, what kind of work to do on the side. And this is one thing. If you just listen intently here and really understand what I'm going to be sharing with you and put this into action as soon as possible, you will be feeling better. There's almost no way that this cannot work. So let's jump right into the four agreements. Now, I will say the book is a lot more involved and it talks about a lot of different things. And it really expands on what I'm going to be talking about. This is kind of like the cliff notes of the cliff notes of the four agreements, but I am going to be sharing them with you. And again, if you choose not to read the book, you're still going to have somewhat of an understanding of what each of these four agreements are about. And you can certainly begin to incorporate them into your life. So let's just get right into it. Number one, the first agreement. Now, I want to make it clear that I don't think these are in any order. These are in the order that Don Miguel Ruiz gave them to us in the book, but there's not one that's more important than the other. They're all four of them, I would say, are equally important. So it's not a pick or choose. You can't just do one or two. I highly recommend you do all four of these and start with them as soon as possible. Really, as soon as you finish listening to this episode, promise yourself that you're going to incorporate them into your life. So number one, be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to read a little synopsis from the book. And again, you can kind of expand on this as you wish, but I think when I do this, you're going to understand exactly what it means. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word to offer love and never use it to cause fear or pain in another person or being or yourself. So, the old saying, when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me that somebody called me names. I would say, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, as much as my mom was trying, names can be and words can be very, very, very hurtful. And so my interpretation of this, besides what I just read to you, is always be honest, speak with integrity. Whatever you do, whatever your words are so powerful, and if they're not good words, they're going to come back to you at some point in a very bad way. So if you're lying, if you're gossiping, if you're just saying things that shouldn't be said, it's all going to come back to you, and it's not going to cause good health if you do these things. It's going to wreak havoc on your health. So just, I guess the easiest way to say it is just watch what you say. Speak with intent, speak with kindness only. If you're about to say something, or this even goes with, like, maybe communication by phone or by text, by email, that's still speaking. Be careful. And before you press send, read over what you're going to send to somebody, because it could be hurtful on some level without you even realizing it. So again, be impeccable with your word. Just be really, really careful. And as you do this more and more, you're going to find it's easier to do. But if you're the type that's been gossiping and just saying bad things, or maybe saying untruths, it's going to be a little bit harder to do this because you're used to that stuff. But the more you do this, it will start to become part of your regular life. And I urge you to please be impeccable with your word. Number two, don't make assumptions. Find the quiet courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Don't assume anything. How many times do we assume every single day? Somebody says to you, "No, I don't want to go out with you. I'm not going to be your friend, or I'm not going to do something." We always assume that we know the reason. But in 99% of the cases, we our assumptions are wrong. And I've proved this in my own life over decades. I start to think, well, this person doesn't like me because I did this to them, or and the fact that and the person never said they don't like me, but I'm just assuming things are going on. Don't assume. And I've talked about this alone in many of my podcasts in the past. Don't assume, because we're almost always going to be wrong. Number three, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. Now, I know this is hard to believe and hard to understand, but it's really true. People aren't thinking about you and I all day long. They're doing things because it's their own life and their own agenda. Now, things they think about and do might affect us, but it's not because of us. It's because something they've got going. What others say and do is a result of their own dream or perception of their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. I have a tough time doing this, and I have to think about this all the time because again, it's very easy. It's really easy to take something personally. But again, like I said, it's we're never right or almost never right. There's always something else going on with someone else as to why they chose to do something or make a certain decision. It's not because of us. Okay. The fourth agreement, number 4, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick under any circumstance. Simply do your best, and you will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and regret. I had somebody just the other day, she was coming out to detail my car after we took a long road trip in the car. I usually do it all myself. I usually clean my car myself. It's not that difficult. I take it over to one of those car washes, not an automatic car wash, but you spray it off with that high pressure spray, and it's a lot of foam, and you clean it. And I usually do it myself because it's dirt cheap and it's easy, and I enjoy doing it. But after this long road trip, I worked with this company, and this woman came out to clean my car, to detail my car, and she did an amazing job. She worked for like 3 hours on this thing. It was amazing, but for some reason she couldn't get the windows to stop streaking, because I think one of the reasons, it was really hot out. No matter what she tried to do, the windows were just streaking, and she was beating herself up on this thing. And she kept saying that I want to make sure you're happy. And she kept saying, like, I can't get this right. And it wasn't bad. Trust me, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't perfect, because sometimes windows are tough. But I said to her, I looked her right in the eye and said to her, listen, you're doing your best. I can only ask for you to do your best. And I thought about the 4 agreements. Like, we just do the best we can. Nothing's perfect. Very few people can do things perfectly, at least every single time. I mean, we can't do that. You know, we do our best, and that's all we can do. And I don't think anybody could ever argue with somebody just trying their best. They might not have done 100%, but they absolutely gave it their best shot ever. And how could we argue? And that goes with me and you. If we do our best, the best we can, that's all we can do. So those are fairly simple. 4 agreements. 4 agreements you make with yourself from now on. Be impeccable with your word. Don't assume. Don't assume anything. Don't take things personally. And always do your best. Now, are you going to start? Are you going to start living by these 4 agreements? I truly hope so. Now, at the beginning, again, I said, well, what does this have to do with microdosing? It has everything to do with microdosing, because, again, you want to reach a certain point where you feel a certain way every single day. But if you're violating each of these 4 agreements, or even one of them every day, or even sometimes, if you're violating these, I submit to you that you're not going to be able to reach the way you want to feel every single day with your microdosing journey. And you might be asking, well, do I need to up the dose? Do I need to do it more often? Do I need a larger dose? I need a heroic dose. No, you don't. You need to do some things in your life differently that are being taught to you while you're on your microdosing journey, or once you start your microdosing journey. I don't think there are any coincidences in this world. You found me for a reason. You didn't just find me to learn how many milligrams to take the first time you microdose. I mean, I can help you with that. You found me to feel better every single day. So please listen to the advice I'm giving you, that the work that you do alongside of this microdosing that's going to make it work. Please take it seriously. I'm Dr. Dave. Remember, I've got a brand new episode that comes out every Wednesday and every Friday. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasts. I'm there for you. Microdose U. And I'm also on YouTube, so you can watch me speak into the mic and talk to you. And I don't know, some people like to be able to, they feel like you can, uh, when you see me on YouTube speaking into the mic, maybe it makes you feel like you know me a little bit better. But I don't know. No, people love the audio. It's very easy to listen to audio when you don't have can't look at a screen while you're driving, while you're working out. So, however you choose to listen or watch or view, I'm so appreciative that you're here with me. I really am. It's a journey that is just not an overnight journey. It takes a while, but you will get there just like I have. Again, Dr. Dave, Microdose U. I do love you. See you next time.